This is the Simply Sisters podcast. Girl, get in here, settle down, settle in, take up space and breathe. Come in this safe space where we believe in the power of sisterhood. We encourage truth and dialogue that promotes peace, clarity, and freedom. Join us here for conversations for the soul, because there is so much to talk about.
Hello, and welcome to Simply Sisters podcast. I'm Simply Tammy.
And I'm Coach Gayll Benson.
And today, our topic is Daddy Dearest. And ladies, disclaimer. The reason that we're doing disclaimer is because we're going to talk about the fathers in our lives, or the lack of. And this topic hits a lot of us very hard. And when we talk about the fathers in our lives, or the lack of, let me just go back foundationally that when you are created and you are born, you come out of your mom's womb and you're now a part of this earth. You don't have a clue of anything, but you're born to a father and a mother, or you're born to a grandmother and a grandfather, or an uncle, or to foster care, or to you fill in the blank. And that's why we say this topic is so sensitive. It's very sensitive. And even for Gail and I, the topic is sensitive. We just kind of want to be gentle. Okay. But we also want to talk about this topic because we want to talk about the love, the trauma, the healing, and the growth. Because all of us have fathers. All of us don't know our fathers. Some of us know our fathers. Some of our fathers exist. Some of our fathers exist and they have other families. They don't deal with us. Some of our fathers know who we are. They don't deal with us. Some of our fathers who deal with us are broken. We don't know that our fathers are broken. And it's just so much that goes into this. And we as women, or we as little girls coming up, we want so much from our fathers. And if our father wasn't there, we want to know why. We want to know who he is. Where did he go? Questions. We want answers. We want to know who we are. And we seek the love and the comfort from this man who's supposed to be in our life.
And we and to join in with Tammy, even as little children, we take on a lot of ownership as kids. And we don't factor in real world scenarios and catalysts as to why adults make certain decisions. But as children, we often ask, why doesn't he want me? Why does he not want to be around me? And we start internalizing that, trying to fix ourselves for someone who we don't even know. We don't know what to fix. And in truth here, it's not for the child to fix. These are adult issues, but children often take on the burden of wanting to fix themselves for this person who they're imagining what they're like. So they're making these adjustments and amendments in their life on what they've imagined and what their perception or their ideation of who this person is. And a lot of times the person that they're vying for, that father, like you said, is broken, who doesn't even know how to face not just the child, but the mother. And the reminders of what has been lost or what they're in lack of is what they see when they see those children. And I'm just speaking just like it generally, this is like broad based because some of these men just assholes, excuse me. Yeah. But, for me being a daddy's girl, I love my father, and, my mother was the nucleus. My mother was the nucleus of our family. And I am learning who my father is as an adult. I'm now learning who my father is. When I was a child, my mother protected my imagery of my dad. And I don't know how much she had to say or do to him to make sure he showed up for stuff and that he was present. I've seen it in myself for my daughters when I used to have to threaten, their dad to make sure you better be there or deal with me. And I promise you, he didn't want to deal with me. So he showed up. But I think about Now that my mother is gone, my mother was the safety net and the covering wasn't there anymore. The covering from my father disappeared when my mother died. And my brother and I have been faced with learning who our father is versus what we thought he was when we were children. Because when he showed up, he was, he showed up. Now, was he there all the time? No, he was not. I'm not going to sit up here and paint that perfect picture and lie. No, he was not. But the blessing came in my godfather that was very present in my life, where I didn't even miss the absence of my father, or I believed the lies that he was away in the military or whatever it is. I didn't notice the absence because my godfather was very present.
Right.
Very responsible for who I am today. Very responsible. And there are some people that's probably not quite happy about that, but it is what it is. I honor both of them for the times that my father tried. And now as an adult, understand that there's some mental health issues that my father was going through very early on in my life that I didn't have a clue about until I became an adult. And then connecting the dots to see him pushing through his mental health issues as a Vietnam vet, the trauma, the PTSD, and him fighting to push past all of that without any help from the military or the government or the Veterans Administration, which I don't even know if it existed back then, with no help, being left to fight for his own sanity on his own and come back here and try to still be a family man and a provider and show up when he really could not. But my mother didn't give him a choice. You better show up. And so, some of these things, those absent moments still was ingrained in me because it gave me a certain perspective on men and how I dealt with them and how I deal with them, because I had a level of disconnect with men. I really didn't have the tools because I had that ingrained perception that came from an absence. Even though my godfather was there empowering me along the way with so many tools that from my own biological father, that absence still, it took root somewhere in me.
But what happens, Gayl, is psychologically we know we have a father.
Yeah.
And we have what's called stand-ins.
The father figure.
And abandonment is real because in a young girl's eyes, her father is the prize.
The superhero.
Her father is her connection, biological connection. So when the father is absent, even sometimes eyesight present, it's still, he's not dealing with his daughter the way he should be, showing her how a man should treat her, teaching her how she should be taught, treated by a man. And even if the father's in the home, how is he treating the mother for the young girl to understand how she's supposed to be treated? Because what she's learning, she's going to take through life. So foundationally, this builds who this young lady is. So you have stepfathers that some young ladies are closer to than they were their own fathers. You have, like me, I was close to my ex-father-in-law, but my dad was out politicking and working in the community and doing things. I used to sit and watch basketball and football with my ex-father-in-law, and we have a good time. We eat popcorn, have a good time. Okay? But soon as I got a divorce, disappeared. My mom passed away. I was close to my stepfather. He turned his back. Then he ended up passing away. So people play these roles in your life. They're here, they're gone. Who am I to look to as the male role in my life? Because now I don't have any uncles. I don't have any father-in-laws. I don't have any stepfathers. Who am I to look forward to? I have a brother. I have a son. I'm not married. And so, luckily, foundationally, I had strong grandmothers. I had a strong mother. They kept me grounded. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But could my mindset could have taken me elsewhere where I was getting in trouble? I was sleeping in and out of people's beds, looking for love. You understand what I'm saying? Making the wrong decisions. As a matter of fact, I was looking for love. Should I have married who I married? Could I have married somebody else? Should I have married? Who shoulda, woulda, coulda. when I made the decision, I was young. I was in my 20s.
Mhm.
I just turned 22, I think. And foundationally, these women are out here. You have men who are married now with families, with children, who have children in other relationships, and they're not even dealing with the children there because the wives in these new homes don't want that daddy dealing with his own kids in another. That is wrong. And these men allow that, and they're absent in their children's
Mhm.
lives.
And it's a sad reality. And I want to go back to something you said, Tim, when you chronologically went through, with being close to your ex-father-in-law, and then that disappeared, and then your stepdad, and then that disappeared. And at what point the grief of losing those relationships, were you able to grieve those relationships? Because the opportunity may not have presented itself because those relationships fell away.
Right.
You were too busy picking up the pieces of your, I don't know how many years of marriage that
Right.
dissolved.
Right.
And then you're picking up pieces because you're trying to keep your children
Together.
straight and
Right.
together through
Right.
it all. And you don't get to grieve
And still trying to rebuild
your own
my
life.
own life.
Right.
Now I'm taking care of a household.
Right.
Now I'm in charge of the bills.
Right.
Now I'm in charge of getting up,
Mhm.
going to work, making sure my kids are
Right.
good and so forth. So the answer to that is point blank. I had to seek counseling. I had a counselor and my spiritual advisors.
Mhm.
I had two. Okay. So spiritually, I was grounded and I understood what was going on, even though I was in so much pain.
Mhm.
I mean, the pain was extraordinary. Okay. I didn't even get in a relationship that I didn't even need to be in.
Mhm.
I had to get out of it. Okay. Because it's not the time to make mistakes. It's time to get yourself together. Okay. And so I had to seek, and I went to counseling along with having those two spiritual advisors. That's when when I was in counseling, grieved my mom's death from 2008 because I had so much BS going on since she died that I was dealing with. So counseling helped me.
We really encourage counseling. Even anything that we discuss or talk about here today, and then just moves you in a certain kind of way, and it brings up some old thoughts or memories. It's something you can't settle yourself back down, and you find yourself constantly in that loop of thoughts and thinking. We encourage you to seek, a licensed credentialed professional that can
Yes.
help you, a therapist, a
Yes.
counselor, a clinical psychologist. If you do not know where to start, please email us at info@simplysisterspodcast.com. We
Yes.
have resources that we can point you in the right direction. As Simply Tammy always says, and I agree with her, our goal here is to help you be the best you that you can be.
Yes.
We can have hard conversations, but we also support you through these conversations. So at this time, we're going to tell you to sit tight. We want to thank you for coming on here and doing
Yes.
this with us today.
Yes.
We are going to be gentle with you. We're going to give you a few moments to get you something to sip on. Run to the bathroom, child. Stop holding your water. And we will be right back.
Hey, sis. Sister. You're the one. Sister. You are sister. No matter when life takes us through, 'cause you're always gonna be my simply sister. Sister, and I love you, my simply sister.
So welcome back to Simply Sisters Podcast. And we want to bring up this topic. In your father is in another relationship and living in another home with another family, with the stepmom that you don't even really know, and she's keeping your father from you. And just say something happens to your father and you don't know the ins and outs of whether your father left you something or not. You don't know how to handle that part when when your father leaves you. Do you go to the funeral? Do you not go to the funeral? How do you find out this information? Sometimes you really just don't, okay? Sometimes you just have to prepare yourself, and I've seen it happen, to basically just go to the funeral and go back home, even though that's hard, okay? But what the women in these relationships don't understand is that if a man is with you and he has other children somewhere else, what makes you think that he's not going to do the same thing to you with somebody else? Because if he's not dealing with his kids here, what if he finds somebody else and does that to this family, okay? And this becomes a pattern. She's not going to like that when he does it to her, so I don't like those type of scenarios. And I watched here a few months back, I'm not going to say a name, but the father passed away. She wanted to go to the father's house, but the father's wife wouldn't allow her to come, didn't invite her to the funeral, didn't want her anywhere near the house, didn't want her anywhere. And it killed her. It actually tore her apart. And I don't understand why you women do that.
Insecure.
Insecurity is a shame. Okay, and I know we're talking about, and we're talking about fathers and their daughters, so that's included. Just it's so many scenarios, okay, that are disheartening. And we don't have all the answers, but sometimes in life we have to learn how to deal with, accept the hand that we've been dealt. And unfortunately, I don't tell anybody not to seek knowing who their biological father is. I condone those who go out and try to find out who they are, because that is a part of you. And I think it's fair that you should know.
I agree with that, and it is not just a juvenile longing. There's grown women who have a void and a longing to know their fathers. Just like Tam said, they get into situations with women who are full of insecurities because the divide is not really about the children.
Right.
It's the insecurities of the new woman about the mother of the children.
Yeah.
And if you have sad trust issues with this person that you married, you have bigger issues and more fish to fry. But my question is, what type of woman are you? If you're listening and you're one of those women, I want to ask you, as a woman and a mother, what type of woman are you that you are okay with this individual, this man, not taking care of his children, not being an intricate part of his children's lives?
Right.
Because whether you want to acknowledge it or not, that's still a part of his legacy. Those are his loins. Those are his seeds. And it may unnerve you how much they look like him and whatever intricacies and secrets that the father shared with you. That's the problem, because the man do a whole lot of pillow talking, and he don't understand that this woman is absorbing all of that talking that you're doing, and she's going to apply pressure where she sees fit, even if it's keeping you from your children, because she don't want you over there at that woman's house.
Right.
The problem is the children become the casualties.
Right.
And then the children become wounded kids who grow into wounded adults.
Right.
And there are women out here who are longing
Yes.
to know their fathers.
Right.
And it's by no hand of theirs that these adults made these situations.
Right.
Some of them manipulated. Some of them, the fathers just, again, not mentally stable.
Right.
Some of the fathers have their own thoughts about where they are in life and what they have to offer. And really, it's a misconception and a misunderstanding without communicating. If you're not talking to your children, all they want you is to be there, to be present, to have that daddy to hold on to, that daddy to have that conversation with, that daddy to give that picture to, daddy to say, watch me do this, dad, that daddy to smile and say, you're a big girl. I didn't know you could do that. It's simple things, but sometimes their view gets convoluted with things that don't matter to children. Even as adults, as an adult woman, I know a woman who carries around so much weight. She vied for her father. She wanted to know her dad when she tried to get to know him. And the one time he reached out, it went bad. It went bad. And then the next year he died. And that bad energy, that encounter, all the years where she thought she was going to finally have a connection, and it went bad. You know why? Because the new wife kept calling during the entire time that she was trying to have dinner. And instead of him not taking the call, he kept taking the call during the dinner, and it was like more than one call. And I'm like, first of all, this is his daughter. This is a grown woman.
Right.
Him meeting with his daughter.
Right.
So there's so many catalysts that wrap up into how this impacts young girls, because again, that'll give her her accurate view of how she deals with women as well, from what she sees, how her father's being manipulated, how her mother's dealing with the absence of the father, and her taking ownership of him not being there.
You know, there's another side of this, that daughters who are very close to their father, and those daughters take husbands, but they can't even be true to their husbands or be a wife to their husband because they're too busy being that to their father. That's a problem. Okay. That's truly a problem. And they'll give up their marriages before they give up anything for their husband.
I ain't doing that Monday. I just Gary, I labor, baby. For a healthy marriage. And I will say this. I will say this. There were times, you know, when I was married, that which y'all good to say that when I was married. When I was married, that I immediately went to my father, you know, for some stuff, and it made him, the said husband at the time, uncomfortable, and I had to learn how to stop doing that, because at a point I didn't really understand the type of marriage I was in, but I had to learn how to allow my husband to do his husbandry, because I had to left. I was not a child, you know, and I left and cleave to my husband, allow my husband to be a husband, which he was a provider and all this other stuff along with everything else. But I had to learn how to not be that person and say, oh, let me call my daddy. Oh, let me call my dad. My daddy. And I'm gonna tell you something. My brother, daughter, honey, her husband, I don't know who my brother, daughter gonna marry, but I'm gonna pray your strength in the Lord out here in the world. Because them girls, they daddy, because my brother will show up. He show up for them girls. He do whatever. When I tell you got the cape stapled or snapped on, I don't know how he got it on, but it's on. And he do it for my daughters too. But honey, whoever married my daughter, Gary Ellison Jr.'s daughters, baby, we gonna be praying yet for you. But you know, we have to allow the men who know how to be men, the men who are capable and have the tools, who know how to lead in love and not control. Right. We have to allow them to be that, and allow our daughters, if this is not their biological father, allow our daughters to see that. But sometimes we are so broken on the inside because of the fragments that are in us from the voice that we feel about our father, the absence of our father, or maybe something our father did that didn't agree with us or hurt us in some way. It's so many fragments that we can't even put ourselves back together to allow our daughters to have a positive experience with a male role model, because we don't trust.
About how does a young girl who sees her father doing great things, though, not necessarily another marriage, whatever, but and how does she approach daddy to say, hey, I'm here, I'm over here? You know, is she supposed to? To approach a grown man? And let's go back to being born and not understanding that daddy has issues, or daddy has all this stuff going on, and that men are broken too. We're not the only ones that are broken and need to get it together. These men out here need to get it together too.
Because they didn't have
their daddies.
They don't have the tools.
Because they weren't taught.
They didn't get taught.
But young girls do not know this.
They don't know that.
And all they seek is daddy.
Daddy's love. They just want daddy.
Yeah. And it's hard, it's difficult. But what if you do have a daddy in the home and you're still not getting what you want and need from daddy? That's still a psychological problem.
It is.
And when you go and you start dating or not dating or don't date.
Right. Because all of it contributes to how you see the world and function in relationship
with a man based on your father. And we can't even hit every aspect of it. But we want you to know that we love you, that we care, and we know that there are those out there of you who are hurting. Okay. There are some of you who have lost your fathers to death, who have died. And, you know, that's not easy, because there's some of us who lost our mothers to death, and the pain is pain.
Yeah.
And, we have to accept the fact that they're gone, but we also have to understand that God took them and that He has them and that they're in a good place and space, and that those fathers and God want us to heal and move on and remember, and they want us to still do good things. They don't want us to sulk and cry and still be hurt. Because when we're hurting like that, we're wasting time. We could be spending time healing. And as we talk about being at peace and growing and doing better things. So for those ladies out there who still hurting because of their father's deaths and so forth, we feel you. We know.
Absolutely.
But we want you to also heal.
Absolutely. And I will say, how do you know you need healing? Whether you're a young woman or a mature woman of a certain age, because, we all love our daddies,
Yes.
or we have struggled or relationships dysfunctional or,
Right.
relationships because of the absence. How do you know you need healing? It's because if it's hurting you and
Right.
the weight is still being carried with you
Right.
along your journey,
Right.
you may not realize how it's impacting how you see the world, how you function with people, but
Right.
it is. We encourage you to please seek help.
Yeah.
Understand that you have conquered so much. You've carried this weight long enough. And even if you may not be able to sit down with your father, if you can, we encourage you to do so.
Yes.
Just to have some productive dialogue. But seek help. Get with a licensed credentialed professional who will equip you with the tools to be able to maybe have some conversations.
Right.
Or if you don't have access to your father or your father is no longer here, give you tools to help you have some closure with that energy not being there. Because sometimes we go through life and we don't get some questions answered. Sometimes we just don't get to know or have that conversation. But get the tools that you can use to help you through the process.
Let me say this too, and I'm throwing this in here. If you are a child whose father is an alcoholic or a drug addict and that has affected you, you need to understand is he away? Adult child of an alcoholic, and you need to understand about drugs. You need to go and obtaining counseling and understanding that will help you understand better who you are and why you're affected and the changes you can make within yourself to make you better. So I truly say get the counseling, get the help you need, and listen, that's all we're trying to do is make you better.
Help you along the way. This is what our community is about. Simply get in the description of this episode.
Yes.
Check out the links to join us outside of YouTube, Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify. Go and join our Simply Circle family. So much is coming. There's going to be support for you. We truly, truly enjoy having a community with you all and how you engage with us. We love it. Please leave us comments. We read the comments. Our team reads the comments. So please engage with us. Again, we are honored and thankful that you came and joined and spent this time with us today. You can listen to us every Tuesday beginning at 6 a.m. Once our episodes air, it is there for you at your leisure. Listen to us on the way to work, while you're getting ready, while you're getting dressed. Keep up with us because you never know where you're gonna see us.
Yeah.
I got spotted somewhere yesterday, child. I felt like a celebrity. But again, we're so thankful to have you and to be here with us. And I've just told you, if you want to see us again, get on YouTube, like and subscribe, share the videos with someone that you love. And I promise we will see you next Tuesday.
We love you.
We love you.
Make it happen beautifully.